Hello, hello. Welcome to Think Lab podcast number three. Happy New Year's, you two.
Happy New Year's to you. Hello,
Good morning.
hello. Good morning, Dominic. I didn't even say hello to you. I only said hello to Dave. Hello, Dominic.
How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. I'm
Mike,
doing
would
well.
you like to quantify your lack of tie in a baseball hat?
My my lack of professional attire and my baseball hat on backwards look. It's actually fraternity back there, so I'm actually quite vintage. Yes, I had a full left hip replacement on December 17th. So I'm 2 weeks out and I'm doing great. And I have my first post-op doctor's appointment today. And I'm hoping that I get cleared to drive, but we'll see.
The best part was Mike called me a couple times and then called me back and said, "Did we talk?" Because Mike was on some serious medication. So luckily, I got him to renew our friendship agreement for 2025.
Yeah, he tried to invoice me $5 for my friendship renewal, and I almost fell for it. Like I think I talked with you when I was like, I don't know, the next day when I was in the hospital or something. I don't know
No,
why.
you talked to me that night because you had gone for a
That
walk.
night,
Yeah, you called me. You were higher than a kite. So,
oh, wow. And you know what else? Oh, I can't say that on this call. Never mind.
all right. So, like to apologize for last week. We had a audio glitch with Mike. It was probably because of the medicine, but we were gonna have our first guest last week, but we will reschedule. So,
Yes.
um, just kind of want to start off, a couple things. Do you guys follow trends in terms of colors, inside, outside, doors? Do you follow that? Do you give that advice out? Should sellers be thinking about that? What's your thoughts?
Yes, I do. Like I say,
You?
don't call me Martha, but you can call me Marty.
Okay.
Martha Stewart.
No, I got the Mart. I
Oh,
don't know where
sure.
Marty came from.
You can call me Marty.
I don't
So
know what
yes,
that means.
yeah, well, it's the male version of Martha. I don't want you to call me Martha, but you can call me Marty.
Okay.
All right. Well, nonetheless, yes, I do follow trends. And I do share them with sellers. Because if the house isn't what I would consider neutral, or if the house needs to be freshened up because of just old paint, yellowing paint, whatever, in my opinion, one of the best bangs for the dollar to get your house ready to put on the market is a fresh coat of paint. And so they always ask me, well, what color should I use? And I'm like, let's just use a very neutral color, near very neutral palette. So I do, and I stay away from gray. Gray is gone, gray is dead. Stick a fork in it, millennial gray over. It's going more towards the warmer tones. So that's that's my opinion.
Dominic, how about you?
Um, I I mean, I couldn't tell you like what this year's color is going to be. That's not my. I don't pretend to
It's
be that.
Mocha Moose, by the way,
Mocha Moose. Okay.
according to Pantone.
But I feel like as far as that goes, I have a general, good eye for I think what is currently acceptable and what isn't in terms of colors and that sort of thing. I think you're right with the gray being overplayed. I think white got overplayed for a little while too. So glad to see it kind of shifting back to some of these more warm colors and something a little bit more interesting, but without being offensive to potential buyers who want to envision the space. uh I like to pay attention to like window treatments and stuff too, like not treatment, sorry, like black window framing and is really in right now versus just like the traditional white vinyl. So things like that I think is cool. I'm not saying every seller is going to go to that extreme and replace windows, but just in terms of overall style and aesthetic, I get my ancillary information from HGTV. My wife is a fan, so as I walk by the TV I can get a quick update on what's cool.
Yeah. So, I mean, one of the biggest colors, actually, there's a color from Sherwin-Williams. It's probably their number one color for resale, and it's called alabaster. And it's kind of it's kind of in the white tones, but when you look at it against other whites, it looks really yellowy. But when it goes up on the wall, it just looks amazing. It's a warm, like ice cream color white. Now see, I'm going into Marty mode. Um, but things with any gray, review pewter, those repose grays, it's just done. The real trend right now, if you're watching, yeah, on Instagram and TikTok, there's a huge trend of going back to really dark jewel tones and really traditional and thrifting things and just having it look like the term is old money. I think that's cool when you live in your house, but I don't know if that would be a smart idea if you were going to put your house on the market. I still think it's neutrality and less is more when your house is on the market.
When I was coming up with this question, I was kind of, browsing the internet, and one of the things that I noticed was Benjamin Moore has their colors, Sherwin-Williams has their colors. And I found that interesting because if you those 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 two companies had different colors. And
Yeah.
I think it's kind of interesting how they pick it. So, I've always kind of subscribed to the Pantone color. Um, but Pantone is usually one color. What's what's the one color? So, Mike, I think your answer is gray, but what's the one color or color scheme that you guys are sick of and when you walk into a house? Anything stand out? To me, it's that Southwest look that was really popular for a while. Those like sand colors. They're like a darker orange, like a burnt orange, that kind of stuff.
Mm.
Well, for me, and it's not just me, it's just observing the buyers too. Um, I would say by far the most off-putting is anything gray, especially when people even put down the gray, luxury vinyl planking floor, and then they have the white trim, and then they've got the gray walls, and they've got the bright daylight, cold lighting. It just feels industrial. It's so off the mark right now with putting your house on the market. And if they refuse to change any paint colors, um, you can improve that situation by switching out all of the light bulbs to a true soft light bulb, and it changes everything. But that's my biggest turnoff.
Yeah, I would say mine is kind of those washed out, like almost pastel looking colors that like a washed out pink or green or orangey, like when it feels like it's trapped, kind of in the 80s. That's a kind of a turn off for me. It just feels like it's hard to really get a gauge of anything when a room is just kind of these washed out muted colors that are that feel dated.
All
And
right.
it's interesting, as long as we're on this topic, I've had many, many, many buyers say, "Oh, I just don't like this house." And so I say, "Why? What about this house don't you like?" And then they start pointing to walls. I don't like that color. I don't like that color. I don't like that color. And I'm like, okay, well, do you like the floor plan? Is this the right size? Are we in the perfect location of that you wanted to be in? Is your backyard exactly what you've been looking for? And when we start turning them on to the positive things, then you can say, I know you don't want to, but you can paint these rooms a different color, but you can't change the location of this house. And you can't change its floor plan really. Um, so,
Yeah, it's funny you say that. I had two buyers this year, one in particular, loved the location, loved the house, loved the neighborhood, loved everything about it, hated the colors. And we closed at 9 a.m. She had painters scheduled at 10. That was their whole thing. And they
That's
had this
great.
whole plan of how they were going to move into the house, where the painters were going to start, what rooms they were going to set up first. And they
mhm.
had this whole, they had completely planned it out. So they were going to move the big stuff into the garage. The painters were going to start in the master, the primary bedroom.
Mhm.
They were going to work their way out. And as they moved from room to room, they were moving stuff in. And then that first night they stayed in a hotel.
That is
And
so cool.
Yeah, I thought it was really planned out. Now there was really stressful because of the closing and the painters,
Right,
and we had to get back there in time, but it was very thought out. And she thought we're going to get one chance to paint the house how we want it and it's easiest because they're not having to move anything.
right.
And I thought that was a really cool idea.
Yeah, and the flip side of that is literally I have, and it's not about me. Let's remember that it's not about us. But I have literally seen people say, nope, don't want to do anything. And it's like I don't know what else to say, but it is like exactly what they want, exactly where they want it to be. And the sellers would have sold that house had they done a basic marketing the house prep, which was neutralize the paint. Um,
What about front doors? There's that whole study that a black front door
reason
sell.
sells for more money.
Yeah.
It's well, you can't lie with numbers, but I haven't had anybody really. The only thing about front doors that I've had is if I'm dealing with buyers that are really, really into feng shui. Hope I said that right. If it's facing the wrong direction, or if the number on the door for the address is poor, but it's usually directional.
That's funny. When we sold our house, our last house before this one, we had put in a brand new black front entry door on the home just because A, it needed it, but B, given that study and the ROI studies that have been done on just, how even from a security standpoint, if it seals properly, if it locks properly, that's just a, good feeling to someone walking into the home. And this may have been more due to the market than the front door, but we ended up getting 10% over asking price, multiple offers. And, it was just one of those things that helped. I think it helps set the home off and that first feeling when you walk in that this is a cared for place, it's a secure place, and the aesthetic was there.
I
I think
hate the
that's
color of
I
my.
think that's awesome, but you know what? Also, it's not only ROI of the study that came out, which you clearly experienced, but it also attaches to the studies that are many, many decades about first impressions, walking up
Hmm.
to the house. And when you see that brand new front door and hardware and probably new side lights, that triggers something in the buyer's brain like, hey, this is a really well taken care of property. And they're excited to go inside. Some
Yep.
people don't even want to wash away their cobwebs. It's like, give me a broom. Get me a broom.
That's right. Yeah, we know
I,
good painters. We know
Get
good
me a
painting people. Like, get this stuff done.
get me a broom.
I had a client that was hell bent on a yellow front door. And when we drove through neighborhoods, the neighborhood appealed to her if more people had a yellow door. And
If
yeah, so like she would be like, "Oh, these are cool people" because they had a yellow door. And what was really funny about it is, I talk to her once in a while. They've been in the house maybe 16 months now, and she might be watching this, but every time I check in with her, she's never painted her door yellow.
oh no.
And that's all she wanted was yellow door, yellow door. And I thought it'd be the first thing they did, but they've
Well, I
never.
don't know about you, David, but I think you should go over and paint their door yellow as a beautiful closing gift.
I just want to go over with like a brush and just put like a line through it. You don't know enough
Should be a
about
new
me. I
realtor.
I can start a project. I can come up with 100 things before I get that second brush stroke on that I would rather do. And I'm keen
Don't
at starting and
don't say you don't finish. Nope, 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 nope.
I don't. I don't.
David.
I end up hiring somebody. That's why I gotta have you come over and help me with my lights.
All right, there you go. And that's why we live in a society because we can help each other with our gifts that we have. And sometimes anything related to home maintenance is not exactly a safe thing for Mr. Mike to do.
Michael, are you a handy guy around the house?
No, it is illegal for me to hold tools in my house.
Okay.
It's illegal.
I have every tool. I have no idea how to use it.
I gave all my tools to my son
Oh, there you go.
because I was always told if you need a tool, go buy one. Because if you borrow the tool, it's going to break. And sure enough, I needed to use a chainsaw because I wanted to do a couple things. And the tip of the chainsaw hit the girt and I busted the chain. And I'm like, Dad was right. So I had to fix the guy's chainsaw and buy myself a chainsaw for the next time I needed a chainsaw. So there you go.
Double whammy.
All right.
So no, I am not handy.
Next topic. What is, and I think you've kind of answered it, Michael, but what is mistakes that first-time home buyers often make? This is kind of a rapid fire, so you guys don't.
Rapid fire.
Sheesh.
Okay, I've got one that just popped in my head. I would say the biggest mistake, in my opinion, that first-time home buyers make is passing on a great house for the only reason that it's not exactly perfect in the inside. And then they might defer and spend more money on a much lesser quality property if they build with one of the big box national builders. And I say that because I have personal experience. And we talk about it to this day. My wife and I have been married 30 years. And we talk about this one house on Ewing Avenue South, right across into the Edina border. And she grew up on Ewing Avenue South over in Southwest Minneapolis. And it was a classic walkout, mid-century Rambler, Edina, brick, huge yard. And I walked in there and I'm like, I feel like I'm at my mom's house. I feel like I'm at my grandma's house. And all that house needed was to just have the modernization of the decor inside. And we were so young, we just could not see that. And I use that example all the time because 30 years later, we're like, you know, you know what that house would be worth today if we would have bought it? Like, how stupid. And so that's my opinion on their biggest mistake is passing on a not perfect, like, I don't want to lift a finger house. That's a bad idea.
Dominic, any thoughts?
I think it's striking that balance between like I feel like some first time home buyers want to buy the first place they see, and then some will get frustrated if they don't like, you know, the first half dozen you see. And so then they want to throw in the towel and give up. So I think it's kind of, you know, if you the first house you see, if it's great, sure, go for it. But I think it also I like to invite people like look at a few houses, you know, before you make a decision. Just because every house is a little bit different, everything looks different than it does online. Go see it, get a feel for these properties, but don't get frustrated with the process because it's just you know, it can be daunting. But if you've got a good realtor at your side, it'll go well. That's right.
All right, ready for some trivia?
Yeah.
All right.
Ooh.
According to one of the
We should have a
national,
song. We should have like a trivia song.
We need
Trivia,
that. When's that
trivia.
producer starting?
Let's all play Dave Lilja trivia.
yeah, I got to get Bear to be our producer.
That's right.
Okay. So, okay, trivia. According to one of the national moving companies, what states were the most moved to? Normally you see moved from, but
Moved to.
what states for 2024 did the most people move to?
I just saw this yesterday. Do you want to go, Dominic, or should I go first?
You can go if you know the answer.
Well, I know one of them is Florida. One of them. No, well then we're looking at different people. The other one is Tennessee,
Tennessee was on the list. Six.
and the other one that I saw was Texas.
No, your list is wrong.
Well, Tennessee is right.
Tennessee's right.
I was going to
Okay.
say Texas. I thought Texas was a good guess.
Yeah, I actually that would have been my guess when I saw the list because so many Silicon Valley companies are moving there
Yeah.
because tax breaks and a bunch with the space and charging stations and stuff. I thought Texas would be on there, but according to the list that I have, number 10, Alaska.
Wow.
Whoa.
Number 9, Washington. 8, Connecticut. Maine, Tennessee, Idaho, DC, North Carolina, Rhode Island, and Arkansas.
Wow. Connecticut is like one of the most expensive places to live in the entire United States. That's shocking.
Yeah, and I think in 2023, Connecticut was one of the biggest move out states. So, and I was trying to figure out if there was any correlation. We have the
Hmm.
South, we have the North, or the Northwest. We have nothing in our area. The closest would be Tennessee.
Well, interesting, but different lists have different sources of where they're pulling the questioning from.
Right.
But I do believe Minnesota and the Twin Cities is a destination because
Mhm.
of the size and for some political reasons too, for women and, choice and, gay rights and things like that, that Minneapolis and St. Paul, our metro area is getting a big influx. We're seeing that with relocation.
We're seeing a lot in the North, people wanting to move here because of environmental.
Hmm.
They
Interesting.
want to be in colder environments. Um, I had a client that he and his dad moved here and his wife. So it was client, wife, and their father. And they had never lived in a cold environment. They'd always been in a really hot area of California.
Mhm.
And they did a Google search and they found that Embarrass, Minnesota,
Oh, geez.
and they bought a house
In
in Embarrass.
embarrass?
Yeah,
That's because they
That's
wanted to
awesome.
participate in the frozen turkey bowling competition.
probably.
It's a
And
thing.
yeah, no, so I thought that was really kind of
That's
fast.
fascinating. Well, you know what? I think we have a very mobile society right now
Absolutely.
for not just for political reasons, but the mere fact that people can work remotely and so many companies are letting people, work where they choose to live and be remote. So, but some things are changing too, like 3M's previous CEO that just got he just left. He was pushing for full remote, but now they have a new CEO that just came in, and he's pushing for people to come in, 3 days a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So we'll see. But interesting,
Yeah, I
fascinating.
get a lot of questions about like internet access up here because I live north of the cities, and people that are either thinking about a place that's either the permanent or part-time residence. But one of the biggest things is, can I get decent internet out here?
Right.
Because they're thinking about work, but they want some flexibility in terms of a little more space. They want some land. They want to be by water, whatever. But internet is a popular question in our area. We're actually getting. We just got installed a couple months ago. The fiber internet is being installed kind of more broadly up here, which has been fun to see.
You know what? I'm glad you said that because as you were talking about that, I was like, in rural areas, people were kind of using like HughesNet or like the dishes.
Yeah,
But I think there's more fiber optic, like nuclear speed internet. That's my nickname for it, going into rural places than it is even in the Twin Cities.
yeah,
We
absolutely.
don't
Absolutely.
have we don't have fiber optic here in Woodbury. I don't think.
Yeah, I think Dominic's right. We also have a lot of clients that do Starlink.
Hmm.
Ah.
Yeah, I had Starlink until I got fiber optic.
Do you love your fiber optic?
Oh, it's the best.
It's
It's
unbelievable.
so good.
It's just it's
Yeah,
it's supposedly like like the best. Well, I'm
I've
it's crazy
jealous.
to me that I can have better internet than, like you said, being down in the cities.
I'm jealous. I'm really jealous.
I've lost high volume deals before because of internet.
Mm,
Absolutely.
I seem to have one deal a year where the person is some type of medical, like a radiologist,
Yep.
that needs to have access, needs to be able to see things. And yeah, and I've made deals because of it. Somebody found something somewhere else, didn't work, came over, it worked at
yeah,
our place. So,
yeah. I had
I
a man
mean,
who was
I
a big gamer and day trader, and so he really wanted to make sure the internet was like top notch wherever he was going to be. So that was like a main priority. It was like we got to find a place that's got the best internet.
that's
yeah,
fun.
but Dave, you're right.
Yeah,
Like radiologists or anybody that needs to look at some kind of imaging for medical diagnosis and just treatment.
Yep.
Um, that's a common thing about internet. And there's been times when I've had them bring their work laptop to the house during the showing. And I'm
Sure.
like, just fire it up right now. And I asked the listing agent if we could please have the password and yada yada. And they're always really super cooperative. And just fire it up and see how it goes. And I mean, they can tell really quickly. So yeah, internet is huge.
You know what's funny is you get to a certain part of the state, we don't use super lock boxes because
Hmm.
the internet is so unreliable.
I believe it. So you
We,
back
we do the
combos.
manual, yeah. And so anyways, all right. So another
Hmm.
rapid fire for you.
Okay.
I saw it was high 60%, low 70. The percent of agents that did less than two deals in 2024. Why are so many agents in our business struggling to do business?
Huh. um, Probably brand recognition might be the first one. As a new agent, it can be really hard to get your name out there. So thinking about, the money, that's required for all your fees and memberships, but then advertising is a big expense for a lot of agents. And I think a lot of people aren't able to incur that expense potentially. And so that maybe holds them back. In addition, maybe that's not their main job function. So maybe they're doing side deals or doing deals just for family and friends. Um, but yeah, it does seem to be like there's the on ramp to becoming a realtor is not overly difficult as we've talked about, but I think there's a lot of expenses that go along with it to actually scaling it out to a degree that you can make it into a full time living.
Mr. Michael?
Well, that's a shockingly low number of transactions and a very high percentage. So that's alarming to me. I did not know that statistic. Um, so I'm going to be very direct and blunt with my answer. Um, it is a very low bar of entry to become a realtor. It's 90 hours. It's $1,500 simply to cut hair. Think about that. And some people may come in part-time, which is probably something that's happening. But my strongest opinion, and I see it all over the place on Facebook and, realtors putting messages out there in groups. I need to change my brokerage. I'm not getting any leads. They're not giving me any leads. Who's got a brokerage that will provide me leads? And I'm thinking to myself, that is not the brokerage's responsibility to provide you leads. You are an independent business owner. And when I was in corporate medical device sales, I mean, it was my job. That's why I was hired to increase the business. And they weren't going to say, oh, Mike, go over to Hennepin County Medical Center. They're going to switch. No, it's like, that's your job. And I'm just going to use the L word, lazy. It's our job to lead generate. And you can do a lot of lead generation without spending money. And it's the old thing when we were in real estate school, don't be a secret agent. It's a contact sport. Talk to people, talk to people, talk to people. Talking is free. So that's my opinion. So,
Yeah, I think it's a pretty common misconception that the brokerage is going to feed people leads. You know,
and
that there's not going to be any there's going to be layups like that. That's not really the case.
no, it's not. And I have said this countless times. My experience coming from very high-end medical surgical device sales in the operating room, and I'm talking on people's brains and then their hearts. Um, Being a realtor at a really high servant level of like a professional level, this is the hardest thing I've ever done. And I really mean that. It's
Yeah.
not easy. It is not easy. So,
Dave, when you're talking to prospective new agents, do you get that question? Like, how many leads is a brokerage going to provide me? Or is that, I'm just curious from your perspective if that's true or not.
I do get that question. Or they ask, how are leads disseminated?
Hmm.
I think I think so if we're strictly focusing on new agents, I think there's a huge misconception of the industry as a whole. So I think sometimes this industry, and there's a lot of brands out there that it's the funnel effect. If you come and I help you come to this company, I'm going to benefit monetarily because it's a drop down. I'm trying to avoid the word pyramid. But so when new agents are talking to people, I think that that doesn't get conveyed as well. So I think anytime you make money from someone or something, I think it needs to be disclosed. I think when you are not talking to the managing broker, if you are not talking to the office leader, I think there's so much misconception, and you can talk to somebody because you see their name or you don't understand their position, and really what you're talking to them about is they want you to come on their team.
Right.
So you're going to be provided leads. So if you're dealing with Sue at brand X and she says, come, you should come work, you'll get Zillow, you'll get this, you'll get that. That's typically not coming from the brokerage. That's coming from that agent, and that agent is the rainmaker, and there's all these
Right.
subsets. The term, the term team, the term group, the term associates gets so misused
Hmm.
that I think part of it is agents come in a very blindfolded way,
Hmm.
and they don't know what they're getting into.
No.
No, you disagree, or no, you agree.
No, I agree. No, they don't know what they're getting into. And I'm not even focusing on new agents. I do believe that some of these big teams and rainmakers, and I've seen it all around me, throw out a lot of BS to these um, agents because most of these teams will then take 50% of that agent's commission no matter what they do, period, end of story. And sometimes they attach that lead to the person that they get from that open house, right? I mean, it never stops. But
Right.
I'm actually seriously focused when I say lazy. That's not a correct term for a brand new realtor. They need to be taught, trained, lifted up, mentored, etc. I know people that have been in the business 20 years that have said repeatedly over and over and over this past year, I'm just not getting any leads from my team. I just don't have any leads on my team. It's just ridiculous. Da da da. This person gets a lead. And I'm like, well, what are you doing to generate your leads? Are you on social media? No, I don't like social media. Are you calling people? No, I don't like talking to people on the phone. Are you having some kind of small event, like even asking people to meet you at the Dairy Queen and everybody that shows up, gets a small ice cream cone? No, that's just too expensive. I'm like, what are you doing? It's
Yeah.
like,
I mean, this very much is
that's
a
not how it works. That's
right. This
not
very
how
much
it
is a
works.
business that you have to put money into it. But I'm thinking back to Dominic's question. The questions I get, Dominic, they are so random, and they are so the questions are spot on, but they're in all these like rabbit holes. So sometimes the question is hard to answer because it's down just simple misconceptions. And um, my answer to a lot of new agents is your success, I believe, is the time that you put into it, not necessarily monetarily at first.
Hmm.
I've always said that if I was going to hire you two and you were going to be a W-2 and I was going to pay you salary, your learning curve is going to be different. But because you're a 1099, I'm limited to what I can tell you to do. I believe,
Well, no, you're right. Your limit is what you can demand out of me.
right. And I'm a big believer of having your paperwork. I'm a big believer of understanding the paperwork, being able to communicate the paperwork, how to get it into Authentisign or your whatever your signing apparatus is. Having that go out and be able to explain it or be able to explain it in person, I think that's so critical because to me, this business, it's a people business, obviously, but when it boils down to it's a transactional. And
Mm.
you need to understand the form. You need to understand what each client is giving or getting or what their goal is. So that's a great question, Dominic. It's a little bit of everything,
Mm.
the questions that I get. Um, I
And
get,
Dave, I'm
yeah,
sorry,
no,
but
go ahead.
David, I mean, yeah, you're right. You have a 1099 person working under your brokerage label for with you. Um, and at the same time, if you have expectations of that particular realtor to generate business, I mean, if that person keeps coming to you month after month after month after month after month, I don't make any money, I don't make any money, I don't, and they're not doing anything. I mean, it's perfectly okay to say, you know what, this might not be the best fit for you. You know, I
Yeah,
mean,
I mean,
and because I mean, seriously, right now, January 1st, I'll tell you what's going to happen. There's going to be just a avalanche of listings that are either going to cancel or are going to expire. And you can be that person that's calling all these people all day long on New Year's Day or whatever. But it's an easy task to go through those and send them a heartfelt note and invite them to ask you for a second opinion. And you can get business that way because they've said, I want to sell my house. I want to use a realtor and I want to purchase. I mean, I'm willing to pay a realtor to help me with their professional skills, but something didn't work right. And but that's self-starting activities. And
yeah,
not everybody has that ability or the drive to do it.
right. You
So is
know,
that how we get to 60-70% of two transactions or less? Is just the combination of all these factors, people are realizing, holy crap, this isn't
Well,
what I
I
thought it was
don't
me,
know.
or this isn't the
I thought the national average was, I mean, I thought it was 4 or 5, and now you're saying it's 2?
yeah.
Really?
You
Does
know, I
that
just,
mean, do you think then there's gonna, well, I know several realtors right now that are in a pickle where they don't have the funds because at the end of the year, you start getting hit again for your state dues, your National Association of Realtors dues, your first quarter. I mean, this
Mhm.
is a time of year where some people might not have the funds to do it. And um, it happens. It happens every year.
yeah, but
At the beginning of my career, I remember I was like, holy smokes, I don't think I can pay this.
to me, I mean, you're making it sound like it's a hamster wheel where January 1, January 1, January 1.
But it happens all the time. Like you
No,
can
I
look
know, but
in.
that's why I'm saying it's a hamster wheel. At some point, you got to get off your ass and you got to do it.
Yes, exactly. Because
And and
things expire and
if you do the work, you will have it to go. There's so many podcasts I listen to and they say, well, if your brokerage is going to do this, if you can do one more deal, what does it matter? If you
Mhm.
do two more deals, three more deals. I mean, what we try to preach is if you're comfortable doing X number of deals, whatever you want to do, let's just say six a year. Okay, great. Plan on doing six deals. Well, how do you do more? How do you make more money?
Talk to more people.
Well, but if you only want to do six deals, you then need to maybe focus on a niche that generally has higher priced homes because for the most part, we're in a percentage sales business.
Hmm.
So if you sell a $200,000 home or you sell a $400,000 home, you're gonna still be able to do your six deals. So how do you do that? Do you work a different zip code? Do you work a different niche like a lake home? Do you, or acreage or farms or rentals or whatever? There's enough business out there that you can create your niche. If you want to do 6 deals a year and you're going to be like, I'm going to do this zip code, well, your business is going to live and die by that zip code. If
Yeah.
that
And I
zip
just,
code
and I
has,
just, I
you
think that's a
know,
very low
residential
goal.
trees, what's that?
Personally, I think that's a really low goal. It's like, why are you coming into it's it's I don't know.
What do you mean a
It's
logo? 6?
I when I came into real estate from corporate and I was exposed to like personal development and mindset training, I thought it was like the craziest, most loony toony stuff that I'd ever heard in my entire life. And I've come to realize that it's not at all. It's very, very, very real. And if you say you want to do 6 deals, you might do 6 deals. But if you say, I want to do 12 deals, I want to do 1 deal a month, you just activated your brain to help you find 12 deals. And
Yeah, I think I don't I totally understand where you're going at it, but I think this business can do really well with agents. I don't like the term part-time. I like the term professional.
casual,
There are people that do 10, 15, 20 deals a year that I hate working with.
I know,
And there are people that do 2 or 3 deals a year that I totally enjoy working with. The difference we have a little bit, I think, is that we have a lot of repeat agents, meaning
hmm
I know next year that I'm going to do probably 3 to 5 deals with this agent. I know I'm going to do 3 to 5 deals with that agent. I enjoy working with that agent. There's other agents that I know I'll do 3 to 5 with. It's a slugfest. So I don't necessarily buy into a number. I think there are fabulous agents out there that do single digits. It works for them. It works for their lifestyle. They can have fun. They can have the life that they want, and they can do single digits that are extremely professional. And I would refer a family member to them.
totally 100% agree.
So,
Yeah, I agree.
Totally and
Absolutely.
100% agree.
all right, with that, I think we're up against a time break here. We try to keep it. 2025, Mike, your business going to suck next year or is it going to be tremendous?
It's going to be fantastic.
That was not an option. Dominic,
Okay, it's going to be tremendous.
Dominic,
It's gonna be
2025,
it's gonna be the best year yet.
that again was not
We're
an
gonna set
option. Okay.
personal goals.
I
Oh, it's
thought the
Mike.
option was it's going to suck or it's going to be tremendous.
Yeah,
Is that what he said?
no, he said it's going to be record breaking. I don't know. I forgot what he
But
said.
you said it either is it going to suck or be tremendous. So my answer is tremendous. Okay,
Oh, okay.
Dominic.
So, tremendous or suck? He said tremendous. I'm
I said
saying.
tremendous.
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
All right.
Dominic, tremendous or suck?
Tremendous. Yeah, for sure.
What what are you doing next year that worries you, Mike?
What am I doing next year that worries me?
Yeah, anything new?
There's nothing that worries me. I'm
Okay.
not worried.
Okay.
I'm doing something next year that excites me.
What?
I'm going to get much more involved with integrating artificial intelligence into my marketing.
Very cool. I expect to see something about dolphins swimming in Woodbury or something. That seems to always be
But
the
I'm not going to be cloning myself, and I'm not going to be having fake videos of myself, and I'm not going to be having fake robocalls of myself where you think you're talking to me, but you're not talking to me. But I am digging into helping my business grow with AI.
okay.
Absolutely.
Dominic?
I think, Dave, we were talking about earlier today, the introduction of a CRM system, just a better way to stay in touch with either past clients or folks that I've had kind of preliminary conversations with. That's just more, scalable for me as a single agent with no outside help or support. I don't have an assistant or anything. So I think integrating technology is going to be new and doesn't worry me, but it'll be a little bit of a learning curve in terms of implementing that and making it into my daily flow.
All right.
Well, I thank you, David. This is my first official lucid business conversation for
We'll
the
edit
whole
out all
for
we'll
the
edit out
whole
all your
world,
stuff.
the whole world to see. My wife came in, she goes, "How's it going?" I said, "I think I sold a house today. I'm not sure."
Oh
I
God.
said, I think I
Speaking
did.
of professionalism.
No, no, no. But that's why. And she looked at me with these huge eyes, and I'm like, because I've teamed up with a young realtor in our office who's absolutely been fantastic, and I've enjoyed mentoring him. And a lot of times, the youth is the teacher. And I went into the surgery knowing that if anything came up, I was 100% solid, and so that's how it got done.
All right.
So I was pretty pleased.
Well, Happy New Year. Enjoy tomorrow night, you guys. We'll talk next week.
I wasn't having
See you
stone
next week.
conversations, David.
I believe you.
Yeah, right.
What
I
brokerage
was
are you with again?
I was not. I was not. I was not. I was not.
I
And I
trust your wife to have guardrails on you.
okay.
We
Bye.
forgot to do
Bye.
this at the beginning again, but again, this is not financial advice, right?
Oh yeah.
This is not financial advice. No, I'm just saying, I even if you don't have a team, you have realtors in your office, in your vicinity, and hopefully you are in a brokerage where those people around you, when you have surgery or if you get sick, if there's someone that you trust that can help you.
Well, I appreciate all the leads. I have 3 new listings in Woodbury coming now because of Mike last week. So. Bye, you guys.
I did
See
not
ya.
do that.
No, bye.
Bye.